You know, right now, we are smack in the middle of two of the biggest transformations humanity has ever seen, and they're happening at the exact same time. On one side, we've got a race to save the planet. On the other, a sprint to build this incredible new digital world. But what if these two massive goals aren't just running side by side? What if they're actually on a collision course?
Okay, so let's really get into this, because this might just be the question of our time. We're putting all our chips on technology to solve our biggest environmental problems. But what if the very tool we're banking on is actually part of the problem? Let's break that down.
So, on one side, you've got the green transition. This is all about getting to climate neutrality, creating what's called a circular economy, where we reuse and recycle pretty much everything, and, just building a truly sustainable way of life. And on the other side, the digital transition. We're talking about the explosion of AI, big data, the cloud, a world that is more connected than it's ever been. And we're trying to do both of these things all at once.
All right, so first up, let's look at the bright side, the optimistic take on all this. For a long time, the thinking has been that digital tech isn't just another tool, it's going to be our #1 ally in creating a sustainable future. And look, this isn't just some fringe idea. It's right at the heart of huge strategic plans, like Europe's Horizon program. The official line is that these technologies are absolutely essential. They're meant to be the brains behind a whole new green industrial revolution, helping us create smarter products and services so we can live within our planet's means.
And here's a perfect example of how it's supposed to work. AI can create smarter energy grids that slash waste, it can manage our natural resources with incredible precision, and it can optimize these super complex industrial processes to cut way down on pollution. And we've got some amazing real-world examples of this already happening.
I mean, just look at this. Google used its own AI, DeepMind, to manage the cooling in its massive data centers. And the result? A staggering 40% drop in the energy they needed for cooling. Now that is the promise in action. You're using a digital brain to solve a massive, real-world energy problem. That's the dream scenario.
But, and yeah, it's a big but, there's a paradox here. And it's been hiding in plain sight. As we lean more and more on these powerful digital tools, we're starting to realize they come with their own pretty significant and often hidden environmental cost. So here's the catch. Creating these powerful AI models we hear so much about, it's incredibly energy intensive. To train an AI like GPT-3 or Llama 3, you have to run these massive computer systems, nonstop, for a long time, and they just drink up enormous amounts of electricity. So let's just take one example, Meta's Llama 3 models. Just the process of training these models burned through over 581 megawatt hours of energy. Now, to put that in perspective, that's enough juice to power dozens of homes for a whole year. And all that energy? Well, it pumps out a ton of carbon. The training for Llama 3 generated 240 tons of CO2 equivalent. This is the hidden price tag for creating artificial intelligence.
Now, what's really fascinating here is when you put these models side by side, the newer models like Llama 3 are getting way more efficient. They produce about half the emissions of older ones like GPT-3, and that's fantastic progress. But still, 240 tons is a huge number, comparable to the emissions from a bunch of commercial flights or the annual footprint of several families.
And listen, this problem goes way beyond just training AI models. Our whole digital life has a carbon footprint. The data centers that basically run the internet are massive energy hogs. And get this, something as simple as streaming video is estimated to cause up to 1% of all global carbon emissions. Yeah, even watching this or reading the news online, it all has an impact. It all adds up.
Okay, so we've got this paradox on our hands. The very tool we need to build a green future has its own environmental baggage. The good news is, people are waking up to this. Policymakers, industry leaders, they're not ignoring it. They're actually building a strategic response to tackle this challenge head-on.
This is Europe's blueprint, and it's pretty comprehensive. It starts with making products circular by design, so building them from the start to be reused and recycled. It calls for trustworthy AI that's not just ethical, but also energy efficient. And a really cool innovation is the digital product passport. Think of it like a birth certificate and a life story for every single product, tracking all its parts. This makes repairing and recycling way more efficient.
And when you boil it all down, what we're really talking about here is completely rethinking what progress even means. It forces us to ask a really tough question. Is endless digital growth even possible on a planet with finite resources? This strategy says yes, but only if we're smart about it. Only if we design our economy to work with the planet's limits, not constantly fight against them. And this isn't just theory. We're already seeing big companies put this into practice. The media industry, which is almost completely digital now, is a perfect example. Just look at the commitments. Warner Bros., CNN's parent company, is pouring money into renewables. The New York Times is actively cutting its electricity use, and Thomson Reuters is shooting for 100% renewable electricity. These aren't just empty promises. They're major strategic shifts, because these companies know their digital footprint is a real-world issue.
But as we're building this incredible new green digital world, there's one last piece of the puzzle that experts say is absolutely non-negotiable. We can't just focus on the tech and the planet, we have to focus on people.
And that piece is what's called a human-centric approach. All it really means is that technology should be designed to support us, to empower us. The whole point is not to replace people, but to augment our skills, to make jobs safer, better, and frankly, more fulfilling.
So what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, it's about way more than just efficiency. It's about designing technology that reduces physical strain on workers. It's about creating systems that are accessible to everyone no matter their age or ability. And it's about using tech to close skill gaps and create better, higher quality jobs. The goal is to make sure this twin transition isn't just sustainable and smart, but also fair and just, a future that actually works better for all of us.
So it all comes down to this, doesn't it? The ultimate design challenge of our time. The path forward isn't about picking a side, digital revolution versus green future. It's about weaving them together so tightly that one actually makes the other stronger. How do we build a smarter, more connected world without letting the very tools we use create a whole new environmental crisis? That's the puzzle we all have to solve.